wormholes, particle physics, extra dimensions. Are the wonders of so-called reality really what they appear to be? Or do we exist in an elaborate hologram? Is our universe the result of random activity or the result of intelligent design? If a creator was involved, can we discover him through our perception of divine order? This is Into the Multiverse with Josh Peck.
Happy 1-year anniversary to Into the Multiverse. Of course, to all of you guys, to our growing audience, and to us as well. A year ago today, we started our very first episode of Into the Multiverse, and in that episode, we talked about simply what is the multiverse. This episode, we're going to talk about destroyers of the multiverse, some of the most destructive forces in the universe and beyond. With me in studio is my lovely, beautiful wife, Christina Peck. How are you doing?
I'm great, honey. How are you?
I'm doing great. Can you believe it's already been a year?
It's hard to believe it. That went by really fast.
Yeah, it did. 52 episodes. This is our 52nd episode.
Can't believe it.
Crazy.
It's gone. It's flown by. Looking back, I haven't gone back and looked at any of our shows. Only a few. When you and I have looked and make sure it came out okay, if everything turned out fine, or if the kids want to watch, because there are times Nathan and Jackie are like, I want to watch Mommy and Daddy on TV. Okay, sure.
Yeah, they love watching us on TV. They both want to be on TV. And of course, Adam had his television debut back with Skywatch Women One-on-One.
Yes, it was really cute. He's also been in one of the magazines. Jacqueline, when she saw Adam in the magazine, I think it was for November, she's like, I want to be in a magazine too. I'm like, well, honey, someday maybe you will.
She's adorable.
She is.
Yeah, but yeah, it's amazing that it's been this long already. And I went back and watched our first episode just to kind of get a feel for it and how far we've come, and we have come a long way. I mean,
I can only imagine.
It's funny. Even in that commercial, the commercial that was in that, it doesn't even seem like it was that long ago, but it was for the Nita's book.
Oh, no fences.
And it was about the writing contest. And when you look at Derek and Sharon in that commercial, like, they have dropped so much weight.
Oh, yeah.
Over this past year. It's amazing. They both look phenomenal.
They look great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's cool. But yeah, so the very first episode we talked about what is the multiverse. This one's going to be destroyers of the multiverse. But before we get into all that, this might be somebody's first time watching, because we do have a growing audience and we love all you guys and are excited and happy for it.
We do. We're up to 87 something.
Yeah, subscribers on YouTube, and even more people watch us on Roku than that. I mean, that's in the tens of thousands, and possibly even beyond by now. I haven't checked the statistics in a while.
It's amazing. It's awesome. We thank you guys so much. Well, if it is your first time, welcome to Into the Multiverse. So you can find us here on YouTube at youtube.com/Into the Multiverse. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Or you can find us by going to skywatchtv.com, and if you scroll down, you'll find a banner of Josh and I. It says Into the Multiverse. Every Thursday is a new episode. Click on it. It'll bring you right here to our YouTube channel. Or if you have a Roku, check us out on Roku under the Skywatch TV channel.
Yes, and if you are watching on YouTube right now, we've made it extremely easy for you. There's a little subscribe button in the corner of your screen. Just click on that, and then you're subscribed. Then you have access to all past, present, and future episodes. It's free, of course, and some really exciting stuff that we have that we're going to start as soon as possible in this coming year. Actually, I don't want to put a date on it, but maybe as early as a week or two from now. Who knows? But we do have some exciting stuff that we haven't divulged what it is yet, but you're going to love it, and it's exclusive only for the YouTube channel. So if you enjoy the show, make sure to subscribe.
Yeah, I have some ideas I want to get out there too.
Yeah.
I won't say it yet. Surprise. It's a surprise, but I do have ideas.
It's exciting stuff. I can't wait to seeing how far that we've come our first year. I can't wait to see what year 2 is going to look like.
Oh, I can't wait. Things are coming together so nicely for the show, and it's nice that we have the freedom to bring in guests, for interviews and anything that we want to do. Like, we didn't do it for this channel here, but we did it for another channel, I think. Was it when we talked about the quantum tunneling, when you and I were talking about that article?
Oh right, yeah, that was for my
for your
YouTube channel. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that was youtube.com/Josh Peck Disclosure, which if people are interested, they can check that out. That's Sharpening Report. That's me, Jake Rahutsky. You're in a couple of those. That's a whole other
That's
channel.
Another thing, but
yeah.
but it's but for this channel as well.
We did take from that and base an episode on it.
Yes, we did, and it's nice that we have the freedom to do things like that.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. Skywatch is great. Well, we don't want to reflect too much because this is not going to be one of those clip shows or reruns or let's talk about everything that we talked about this past year. I mean, if people want that, they can watch the episodes because every episode that we do, it's just as relevant today as it was when it was first done. I think our show kind of has a timeless quality about it. We don't really deal a whole lot in current events unless there's a bigger picture that will always be relevant. So if you at home, if this is your first time viewing, go ahead and binge watch our show. Our show is designed for that.
Yes.
You can start at episode 1, and people have done this and wrote us about it. You can start at episode 1 and just watch it.
Yeah, and we always another reason why we don't want to do clip shows, we like to keep things new and fresh.
Yes.
And there's always so many new and exciting things coming out about physics and science and everything. So
yeah, and one of these trends that I've seen on YouTube a lot is like top 10 lists, and they do really well. And we've done a couple of like top 5 lists and stuff like that for this show, and people generally seem to like them. But one of them that's been done on YouTube before is like the most destructive forces in the universe and things like that. So I wanted for us to kind of do that, but take a different spin to it. Talk about things that aren't talked about in all those other top 10 lists. So these are things that you probably haven't heard of. Most of these, a lot of them I haven't heard of before we started researching for this. But they're all real. They're all exciting, and it is destroyers of the multiverse. But a lot of these are just universal things just in our universe. But that's still part of the multiverse, so I guess it counts. It works. So what should we start off with here? We'll go in order from least destructive to most destructive. What could actually destroy the multiverse? And chances are we'll have to break this up into 2 episodes. So
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's exciting. So and it's funny to say it this way, but what is the least destructive force in our list here?
The least destructive, but equally frightening, is hypervelocity stars.
Hypervelocity stars. This was a term I had not heard of until we actually looked into it, but this is actually one of the newest discoveries in the field of cosmology or astronomy, whatever you want to call it, but the very first hypervelocity star was discovered in 2005 by Smithsonian astronomers, and what they saw was a massive star traveling 2 million miles per hour across the Milky Way galaxy by itself.
It's terrifying.
It's weird to think about that. Nothing around it, nothing orbiting, just by itself at 2 million miles per hour, which is incredibly fast. So they're thought to form when a galaxy's central black hole, which is called a supermassive black hole, all galaxies have them, when the central black hole consumes one star in a binary system. So basically, imagine you have 2 stars and they're orbiting each other. Then they happen to come along a black hole, and one star gets sucked into the black hole while the other star is far enough away that it just gets flung out into space.
Yeah, and I had brought this up earlier. It's like being on a merry-go-round.
Right.
One year it's still going, it's still spinning, and if you fly off of it, you're going to keep on going in the same direction. You're still going to be spinning.
Yeah.
Until you hit something, and then.
And when we were planning for this episode, we talked about how Kent Hovind actually talked about that, and when he brought up how other planets spin the wrong way.
Yes.
And, according to the model of the universe and the solar system as it's understood today, that shouldn't happen.
Right.
So and it's weird to think about.
It points to more of a divine creator and creation than evolution, because things like that just don't happen not by mistake.
They're not supposed to. So that's strange. But so they go at 2 million miles an hour. They move through space so fast that they're actually not even bound by the gravity of the galaxy anymore. So they are completely alone. So imagine this. Imagine like how destructive this would be if one were to fly into Earth or something. Just an asteroid a few miles across hitting Earth in the right spot at the right speed, that's enough to destroy the Earth.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we're Christians. We know that well, there are some Bible verses that seem to say something like that will happen, but it's not going to destroy the Earth or anything.
Right.
But they just a rock that's a few miles across has that type of destructive power.
And I wonder what it was like and what had happened in certain parts of the world where you see these huge craters.
Yeah.
You know, it was something had clearly hit the Earth, and that was very large. I mean, over out in the desert. Is it Arizona? Or I think it's Arizona, or maybe it's Utah. I don't know. Out there,
Somewhere in that area.
Out in the desert over there, out west, further west. But that's huge. And then
the Yucatan Peninsula.
Yeah, and then the Yucatan Peninsula underneath the water you can see from the satellite pictures. Incredible. I just cannot imagine what that had done to the Earth.
Yeah.
And I think about it. It could have gone back to Genesis 19 about Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right. Yeah.
You know, maybe
a similar type of event could have.
Something like that, or the fall in general, could have. I think it just disrupted the entire universe when man fell.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why the universe is so messed up and why there's these destructive things.
And rogue planets.
Yeah, that's another. Rogue planets aren't really destructive, in themselves, but they are weird because they're just planets that they're not orbiting anything.
They're not going where. They're just going. They're just there. They're just there.
Oh, that creeps me out. Just dark and cold and silent. But so imagine that. So that's an asteroid. How much destruction that could cause. Now imagine if the sun were to touch Earth, well, the sun wouldn't even get close enough to Earth before Earth would be destroyed to even touch it. But that's just our sun. Now imagine a star that's way bigger than our sun, and that's not just that's going 2 million miles an hour shooting directly at the Earth. It would obliterate us, and we wouldn't be able to do anything about it.
Nope.
You can't shoot a missile at it.
Nope.
You can't get off planet.
Nope.
You can't escape. There's nothing you could do.
You can't assemble weird people together like an Armageddon to go and blow it up.
No, it wouldn't work because it's already blown up. It's already fire and chaos and mayhem.
You can't get near it.
Yeah. So, but luckily, as far as has been observed and reported, there's no hypervelocity stars anywhere even close to us. They seem to be around like the center of galaxies and stuff. So we're quite a ways off from that.
Well, thankfully, we're at the end of the edge of our galaxy.
Right. So that brings us to quasars, the next most destructive force in the universe.
Yeah, well, quasars were first discovered in the 1960s when astronomers pointed the first radio telescopes towards the heavens.
Right.
And you and I have both heard that sound.
Yeah.
From those radio telescopes.
Yeah, because you can go online and listen to them and stuff.
It's incredible. It has the most unique sound.
Yeah, it's weird.
Sound of the universe. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
They detected the radio waves from the sun, stars, and even from the Milky Way itself.
Yep.
They were also detecting small yet incredibly bright unknown objects. And
they had no idea what these were.
Yeah, and they named them quasars, short for quasi-stellar objects.
Yeah. Yeah, and so galaxies have supernova black holes at the centers that are billions of times more massive than the sun. All galaxies have them. And when galactic material gets close to the supermassive black hole, something called an accretion disk forms around it. So this accretion disk, it gets so energized and so hot, it heats up to millions of degrees, and once that happens, it blasts out in both directions, and that actually, it flies out in space for millions of light years, and that's what's called an AGN, or an active galactic nucleus. So a galaxy that has these jets shooting out of it, that's called an active galaxy. So those jets, the materials that's flying out of these things are obviously incredibly destructive. If one of them was pointing towards us, we wouldn't survive. Not even close.
Sounds horrifying.
It's more destructive than the hypervelocity star. So it's pretty bad. But all right,
It's not okay.
It's not okay. Next, we're going to be talking about cosmic radiation, a couple other things, and we're probably going to have to split these into two episodes, I think. But we got some cool stuff for you, so stay tuned after this.
I will ascend into heaven. The war began in Eden when the dragon, known as Nakash, lured Adam and Eve into sinning with the lie, "Ye shall be as gods." I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. Soon, humans multiplied upon the earth, and rather than worship God, they fell down at the feet of dragons. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation. But it wasn't enough for the dragons. They wanted to do more than just own mankind. They wanted to destroy them, to forever keep them from re-entering the divine council. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. The war raged on, where fallen angels descended onto mountaintops, spreading fear and false doctrine. It is a war for the souls of men, and only a Savior's blood could change the outcome. I will be like the Most High. Satan and his minions go by many names and wear many faces, but their strategy has always been to imitate God's truth. We call this war for men's minds the Great Inception. Learn the secret history of the spiritual war. Learn the names of the deceivers and what their true aims really are. Learn where they have struck and where they will strike again before it's too late. The Great Inception.
We're in the middle of a battlefield surrounded by an enemy that we've been told doesn't even exist. The pagan gods are imaginary, we've been taught, just lifeless blocks of wood and stone. The Great Inception shatters that illusion. It took me 2 years to pull this information together, research into archaeology, history, ancient languages, to show that the Bible stories you've known since childhood are actually literal accounts of supernatural warfare between God and the rebel gods who decided to reject the authority of their creator. My hope is that after reading The Great Inception, you come away with just one question. Why haven't we heard this in church before?
You've been fighting in a war against an enemy you've been told doesn't even exist. Skywatch TV wants to change that to prepare you for the battles ahead. Beginning March 7th, exclusively from Skywatch TV, the Cosmic War Collection finally arrives. Featuring 3 groundbreaking books, a 5-hour DVD, and a 7-hour audio series showing you how real the supernatural War of Kingdoms actually is. Reversing Hermon by acclaimed Bible and ancient language scholar Dr. Michael S. Heiser, and The Great Inception by Skywatch TV's Derek P. Gilbert. You'll learn how Christ's full mission has been misunderstood for 2,000 years. Not only did he come to shed his blood to redeem mankind, Jesus was on a mission to reverse the sin of the angelic watchers who descended on Mount Hermon. You'll also discover how Bible stories you've known since childhood were literal battles in the spirit realm between God and the gods who rebelled. When you order the Cosmic War Collection from Skywatch TV, you'll receive Reversing Hermon by Dr. Michael S. Heiser, The Great Inception by Derek P. Gilbert, a new, exclusive, never-before-offered deluxe hardcover collector's edition of the Book of Enoch, The Real Clash of the Titans DVD, a special, never-before-released video compilation with 5 hours of teaching on the long war between God and the gods, and The Unseen Adversary, a brand new audio series on MP3 disc with 7 hours of Derek P. Gilbert interviewing Dr. Michael Heiser on the Watchers, UFOs, and the Great Cosmic Rebellion of Satanic Forces. A value of more than $100, yours for just $29.95. The Cosmic War Collection, available beginning March 7th only from Skywatch TV. Know your enemy. Order the Cosmic War Collection beginning March 7th by calling 844-750-4985 or log on to skywatchtvstore.com.
Welcome back to Into the Multiverse. If you haven't had a chance to do so, make sure you subscribe. Again, we got some really exciting stuff coming up in the very near future, so you'll want to make sure you subscribe. If you're viewing this on YouTube right now, click the little subscribe button and you will be subscribed. Okay, so jumping right back into this, as if I don't say that enough when we come back from a break, cosmic radiation.
Cosmic radiation. Well, here on Earth, cosmic radiation is relatively harmless. Well,
Yeah.
we have things that protect us from the radiation.
Yeah.
We have our magnetic field that does a lot for us, thankfully. The problem comes in throughout the depths of outer space.
Yeah, when we're not protected by the Earth.
Yes, when we're not, like if we were to leave the planet, well, okay, even here on the surface, it's relatively harmless. But
Right.
I have seen interviews with the astronauts who work on the satellites,
Right.
and they say that they can almost feel the radiation penetrating.
Ugh.
Like it just,
Like even through their suits. Wow.
there's just only so much it can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you're right there, you're not protected by, well, the atmosphere
Right.
or anything.
Yeah, because it's actually really high radiation that's hitting the Earth, but our atmosphere turns it into low energy particles, stuff like neutrinos that just go through the Earth harmlessly.
Yes, yes. And so when you're not protected by it, they say you can almost feel it. Almost looks like you almost see it.
Yeah,
Almost,
that's weird.
Yeah.
You know what else too is there was an article that talked about space brain.
Yeah.
That astronauts. It was recently reported that cosmic radiation may leave astronauts with long-term cases of what they call space brain. And basically what it is, it's a condition that includes multiple cognitive problems, including chronic dementia. That's how harmful this stuff can actually be. So cosmic radiation, it could not only pose a threat to celestial bodies like moons or planets out there that don't have an atmosphere, and that might be why some of them are so messed up. But also to us humans, when we travel out in space. So those can be pretty destructive. But thankfully, we have the Earth's magnetosphere and atmosphere to help us out with that.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Magnetic field and atmosphere. Next on our list is pulsars.
Yes. So in 1967, an incredibly small but immensely dense celestial object was discovered, and they didn't know what it was. There was all sorts of crazy theories about it that people can look up online. And actually, if you want more information about this, subscribe to the Skywatch magazine at skywatchtv.com, because we're writing a whole article about this. So there'll be links and a lot of cool stuff. But from Earth, pulsars, they look like flickering stars. They look like a normal star that's like flickering or pulsating. They seem to blink on and off with a regular rhythm, which is strange. And actually, there have been times that people have thought that maybe they're UFOs or something. I mean, you can't really see them with but through a telescope or something like that. But everything about pulsars are not as they seem. They don't actually blink. They're not. They don't pulse. And they're actually not even stars. They're what's actually going on there. They're about the size of a city, like a large city, about 15 miles or so across, generally. But they're more massive than our sun. So that's crazy to think about all that mass in such a compact space. They radiate like the galaxy thing that we talked about, the active galaxy. They radiate two beams of light in opposite directions. So the blinking and the pulsating is because they spin.
Yeah. Yep.
And so they can measure the spin, and they can measure all that. So it's kind of like if you think of a lighthouse.
A lighthouse.
Yeah, when you look at a lighthouse, it looks like the lighthouse is blinking if you're looking at it from out
bulb.
in sea. Yeah, but it's actually spinning around. So now, as of now, there's over 2,000 pulsars that have been detected so far. They belong to a family of celestial objects called neutron stars, which we'll be getting more into later. But they're created when a star that's more massive than our sun runs out of fuel and it collapses on itself. And then what happens? It creates a massive explosion called a supernova, which those are also incredibly destructive. But again, those are usually put on lists like this, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to just rehash things that have been done 1,000 times.
That's right.
So the dense inner material that's left behind after the supernova, that's the neutron star. So similar to quasars, as we talked about before, you have two jets of light that are emitted from pulsars, and they're incredibly powerful. They're destructive to anything getting in their way, and this, of course, would include the Earth if one were to come close enough. It would completely annihilate us. I actually remember an old episode of, well, they're all old because it's an old show, that show Sliders. Remember that show?
Yes.
So they travel to this parallel dimension where there's a pulsar that's about to spin and hit the Earth, and they got to escape, but the timer is set to after it, so it's a whole thing. But that was a good show.
It was a good show. The Professor.
Well, I think if we run through it very quickly, we can get to number the fifth one here, because we got a couple minutes left.
It's galactic cannibalism.
Galactic cannibalism. Think about that.
Basically, in short, the short of it is when galaxies are moving through space. We know this. Well, one can catch up or go in the same, head-on collision, and once they hit, the bigger one takes on the smaller one, and now it's one big thing. But of course, then you get those rogue stars that start flying off and rogue planets.
You get a lot of destruction, and even though this is different than galaxy collision, this is galaxy cannibalism, where you have one large one smaller one, and just like you said, the larger one absorbs. But if that were to happen to us, to our galaxy, whether we're the small one or whether we're the big spoon or the little spoon. Whichever galaxy we are, it's still incredibly destructive. I mean, it would devastate all the balance that the galaxy has, and they've been able to detect things like that.
It'd be a hot mess.
Well, very literally, it would. It would be a big hot mess.
Things would be burning up with a fervent heat.
Yeah, it absolutely would. Well, I guess next that we're going to have to save these other 5 for the next episode where we talk about this. But we hope that you have enjoyed the show. Stay tuned. We'll be talking about the next 5 to create like the whole 10 list. So some different things coming up. So make sure you stay tuned. Thank you for joining us yet again into the multiverse. For Christina Peck and of course myself, I'm your host Josh Peck. As always, take care and God bless.